Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of
The Lo and Zoe Show.
So today we're doing a bit of a part two episode on a previous topic that we talked about, which was embracing your gifts to find success in life. And today we're going to be sharing some of our own personal stories of what that has looked like for us, but also relating it not just to business or your career, but also your personal life as well.
Yeah, let's get into it.
I'm Lo.
And I'm Zoe, and this is The Lo and Zoe Show.
We're coaches and entrepreneurs who firmly believe that an abundant mind is the key to an abundant life.
On this podcast, we're going to be talking everything from how to manifest more money, travel, success in business, and beyond,
to overcoming the blocks that are holding you back,
to rewiring your brain so you can easily attract whatever it is you want the most in life.
If you haven't already, be sure to join us inside our Facebook community, the Queen Mind Tribe, for daily tips, mindset hacks, manifesting tricks, and more that'll allow you to build the confidence you need
to manifest the abundant AF life you deserve.
Now let's get started. Okay, so we got so much positive feedback from a previous episode of ours, and I think we called it something about a vital component to fast success. I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it was episode 8 or 9. Anyways, we got a lot of positive feedback from you guys, and I think that it's because we want so badly to feel like we're enough. We want so badly to just be told like everything that you are is everything that you need to be. But in today's world, especially core places in our lives like our personal relationships, our romantic life, our careers and businesses, we just have this idea that we need to be something other than what we are in order to be successful. And so we wanted to talk about how us both embracing who we really are has led to us having success, and how you guys can be doing that for yourselves as well.
Yeah, and it goes back to a concept that we have spoken about a few times on a few different episodes, is the way of being.
Yes.
Like really focusing that way of being and understanding that being more of yourself is the solution to any resistance that you have in your life or that you are experiencing.
Yeah.
So being more true to who you are and not wearing any masks allows you to hold on to all of your power and really own and step into who you are.
Well, and I think it's important to look at how does this idea of I need to be more than what I am manifest in our lives. So, for me, I have so much experience in the business or the entrepreneur world. And that is, when we start a business, we look at what everybody else is doing. We say, okay, I want success like the success that person has. So I need to do what that person has done. And the problem with this is a couple of things. One, it immediately puts us into this place of lack and comparison, which if you want to manifest abundant results in your business, you cannot come from lack, period. But two, it's really hard to get your conviction behind something that isn't yours, right? Or that was
exactly
so for me, in my business started taking off when I stopped looking at what anybody else was doing and saying, what do I know works? What programs do people need from me? And in that way, I just really started feeling so excited about what I was putting out there. There was no one to compare myself to. And when I speak now about my programs, there's just so much conviction and confidence for me because I'm pulling from my own personal experience in order to put that program together. So I'm not saying, okay, I'm going to put out a money mindset program because I've seen people buy that. I'm saying I'm going to put out a program that helps people to reprogram their subconscious to become the person who has the success already, to think in alignment with their desires. And then I'm going to show people how to put in the marketing strategy or implement the marketing strategy to bridge that gap for them. And that's kind of understanding the process that now I walk people through or coming from that process after I've developed that process in my own business and helping other people do the same is what just allows me to sell and speak from this place of personal experience, personal enoughness, and almost this conviction of you'd actually be crazy not to buy one of my programs because I just know that this is what you need in order to be successful, right? Or at least the right people, this is what they need. And when you come from that place in whatever it is that you're doing in life, you're going to manifest results.
Because
right?
you believe in the value that you
Exactly.
provide for everyone that is in your presence.
Exactly. So in the previous episode, we both kind of talked about how we shifted from that place of comparison or that place of just questioning who we are and trying to be someone other than we were.
Yeah.
And how once we shifted that and we just made, Zoe talked about her YouTube channel just being a reflection of you, right? You just made your YouTube channel be a reflection of you, and that's what people have really resonated with. Yeah.
And I think that's when it started to become more successful because I just believed and I was just acting on intuition or just who I truly was, whatever my soul was calling me to do. Yeah, I'm going to sit down and talk about that. And honestly, a lot of people ask me, like, do you prepare your videos? Like, do you have notes or anything like that? No. I literally just kind of have an idea, maybe the topic or what I'm going to title this video, and then I just turn on the camera and go.
Yeah. And I think that it's so important to recognize how important trust is, trusting yourself, which is what you're describing, right?
Yes.
I'm just saying, this is what I'm going to talk about, and I trust
that it's providing value.
Yeah. And I trust myself to figure out what I need to say. Right. And so much of what we do in our lives, we don't come from trusting ourselves, trusting that we're good enough, trusting that we have everything that we need. And so we try and compensate, and we try to paint this picture of somebody that isn't us. And then that's what imposter syndrome is. Imposter syndrome is when you're trying to be someone other than you are, and you feel like people don't even really know who you are because you're not putting that side of you out there. So the fastest way for you guys to find success, and we're going to talk about this in regards to more of your personal lives today, but the fastest way to find success in any pursuit in your life is to be fully and 100% yourself.
Yeah. Be you. Yeah. More and more you. And the topic that I'm going to talk to you guys about today is my dating life, because I was someone who, you know, I'd say more recently in this chapter of my life, like in the past year, I decided, okay, I'm going to start working on this area because in comparison to other aspects of my life, you know, travel felt like, oh, I got a master's degree in travel now, and this is where I'm at. And I literally have felt like I'm in grade 5 when it comes to love and relationships for many years. It's just a place that I've not done any work. And when I started to decide, okay, I'm going to start doing work, I was on YouTube watching Matthew Hussey, reading the manual, reading these books on dating and like how the minds of men operate and what they're expecting and what they would like you to say and how you're supposed to text and how you're supposed to act cute.
Into that.
And I was sucked in at the beginning, and then I realized, like, you know what? This is not going to work for me because that's not me. Yeah. I don't know how to play games. I don't know how to show up anymore in my life as anything other than myself. And in some ways, it's, you know, I can't be anything different. So in some ways, like, it has caused resistance in conversations that I might have. I might accidentally like offend people who don't believe in the same things or feel the same way, but I can't help but to just stand up for myself now and just like speak my beliefs.
Yeah.
And be who I am. Yeah. I can't resist that force anymore. And so I decided to scratch everything that those videos taught me, that those books like put into my mind. I'm like, screw that. I'm going to wear whatever I want to wear. I like to dress up when I'm going to go on a date. So I'm going to dress up in whatever I feel like comfortable in for this day. How am I feeling today, and what's going to make me feel the best today, not what I think that person wants to see.
Yes. Yeah. And that's exactly what you just said. What you think that person wants to see, and whether or not that's an interview that you're going for, whether or not that's a business that you're wanting to build or a relationship that you're wanting to attract into your life. It's when you are showing up in the way that you think other people want you to, you are, first of all, coming from fear, and you can only get fear when you're putting fear out there. We talked about that in one of our previous episodes. But you're also just coming from not enoughness.
Not enoughness. And you're wearing a mask.
Yes.
You're pushing a lot of energy towards trying to create a perception for someone else.
Yeah.
Rather than just cultivating that power and keeping it for yourself.
Yeah.
You're giving it away.
And I think really what we want to like drill in for you guys here is access to everything that you want in your life. You know, the soulmate relationship, the $1 million business, the dream job, all of it is on the other side of you not only accepting yourself, but really owning what makes you amazing personally. Like, the more that I do that, and for me more recently, because I've for a while now been developing programs and offerings in my business that come from me, and that has what ultimately turned everything around in terms of actually seeing the results that I wanted in my business. But what I've been doing more recently is just putting more of my authentic self out there online, which was hard for me to do. It's not like I never felt like I was being fake, but I was in my head a lot about, are people going to think I'm weird, right? Or how do I say this so that I sound smart, or I sound like I've got it all together, or what are people from my past who follow me online going to think about what I'm saying in this, I don't know, post or podcast episode or whatever. And so now I'm just kind of at this place where it's like, you know what, the more I just put my quirky self out there who doesn't always have it all together and is a total klutz and like is just real about things, the more love like I'm really getting from so many people. People are just responding to me in such a different way.
Because you're giving yourself love, Laura, in those moments. Exactly. Like you're actually choosing that I am enough. Yeah. And that's an act of self-love, is to not resist or not to give the power away to what others might be thinking. Yes. It's just like, I love myself. I'm not going to think twice about this.
Yeah, exactly. And that was just such a shift for me to make. And I actually see it now. And this is a big part of the episode, is like, now I get that is access to me having everything that I want. And in my business, in my personal life as well, in dating, like I've just always come from this place of who do I need to be? What do I need to look like? How much do I need to weigh? What should I wear? It's all. And the thing is, we don't often even realize that we're doing it, right? Yeah. It's just like so programmed into how we show up in the world that when I really got like, I'm just not allowing myself to just show up as myself. And the interesting thing is that in like my friendships, for instance, I've always just been 150% myself. And those are the areas of my life where I have so much love. Like I've always had incredible friendships, like 5 or 6 people at one time who I would consider being best friends. And like, because that's the area of my life where I just show up completely uninhibited. Right. So, I think just like really recognizing, where are you trying to be more than what you currently are, or
not even trying to be, but what are you resisting within yourself? Like, why do we resist who we truly are?
Right.
Because I can give the example of like on YouTube, through that journey, I've really discovered like I want to talk about spirituality. Like that was something that I resisted for so long. I resisted talking about the law of attraction for at least a full year.
Right.
I thought about it so many times. This is what I want to talk about. This is what I want to introduce to people. I want to talk about my manifestation success stories, let's say. And I resisted it for so long. And the second I finally honored that, like that video, I remember was just at that time, it was one of my best performing videos. And I just got a lot of positive, powerful feedback from people. And then from there, I just, created a whole playlist that supported people along that journey, along that understanding that this could be a new way of viewing life. And the love came back to me once I decided to take that act of self-love and honor what my soul was calling me to speak about.
Right. Yeah. So it's like not just accepting your strengths, but actually getting there your key to everything that you want in life. The more that you show up as you, the more you're going to attract love in all areas of your life. Yeah. Exactly.
The universe loves you, and it just wants you to recognize that like you are love. Like that's your natural state of being, is abundance and love.
Yeah.
And the more that you can accept that
and actually lead with it too, and be like, this is why I should have the job. This is why I should have the relationship. This is why that person is absolutely going to text me back, because even though I'm weird, I am amazing.
Yeah. Like, and you don't know what the other the people around you appreciating you, but it's those like little quirky things. It's those little things that are unique to you.
Story?
Yeah. I'll tell the sticky note story. So you guys probably know this now based on like if you follow Lauren or I on Instagram, because they've been in the story. So I put sticky notes, like Post-it notes around my house with affirmations or things that I'm working on, different mantras, let's say. And I started seeing this guy, and he was coming over for dinner, and I had this thought to myself, like, oh, should I take all these down and put them in the drawer while he's here? Like, should I do that? Because maybe this is weird. Maybe this is hippie, like woo-woo. It's fine, like, if my friends, of course, because in those relationships, I'm uninhibited.
Yeah, right.
I'm just showing up as my true, authentic self. And then I decided, you know what? I'm really moving towards this chapter of my life, this dating chapter, as let's throw out all the manuals, everything that those videos told you, and you're just going to show up as you. And you're just going to be present. So I kept the sticky notes up, my little mantras, kept everything up.
They're like everywhere. And they're like, you are love. and assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Like just all, I love it. It's like just so.
Yeah. And so I had these sticky notes up, and then this guy had come over, and we've been seeing each other for a little while. And more recently, or maybe a couple of months ago, he first started to comment on the sticky note. Oh, a new sticky note. Like, I really like these. I really appreciate these. And now it's like a thing that's one of the things that he always acknowledges about me. Like, whenever he comes to my house, he checks them out and is like, oh, like, what does this one mean to you? And like tries to learn more about me and thinks it's really unique. Like, he even told me he thought about, I wonder, like, why does she do this? What has propelled her in her life to just be so strong and supportive of herself.
Right.
Or like be her own best friend. And this is what he finds intriguing.
Right.
Well, and he wouldn't have, like, if I would have blocked that from his vision, let's say literally by putting the sticky notes in a drawer when he came over, like I was blocking love in some aspects.
Love for yourself.
Yeah, love for myself. And then the ability to receive love for who I truly am from others.
Yeah. Well, and I think that what is so powerful about this is that we are all just desperate to have permission to be ourselves and embrace ourselves. And so when you are someone who has embraced yourself, other people find that so attractive because it's permission for them to do the same, right? Whereas when you're showing up inhibited or acting a certain way because you think that's how you should, that's like an energy that they feel, and now they're reflecting that back to you, right? And they're not feeling uninhibited. So I think it's actually the most attractive thing in someone for them to show up in their fullness and in their, this is who I am, take it or leave it. But not only that, it's attractive because it's someone who's self-assured is attractive, period. But not only that, it gives me permission to say, I'm enough. I get to just show up as myself with this person, right? Yeah. And that's like the biggest gift that you could possibly give someone. And a friend of ours is a relationship coach, and he recently was talking about how if you just, let's say in a relationship or in a dating scenario, you just show up fully in love, like, spreading love to that person, giving it to yourself, showing up as yourself. There is nothing to regret if it goes awry, right? If it doesn't, if they decide you're not the person for them, whatever, there's nothing to regret. It's not like, it's like, well, I was just completely being myself and I was giving the affection that I wanted. And if they weren't the right person to receive it, then that's why they left. But when you show up as less than yourself, you show up trying to play games or trying to think of what you should say all the time, and it doesn't work out, you think, I wasn't even being myself and I still wasn't good enough. Right.
Yeah.
So I just really liked that. Like, you don't need to question yourself anymore. In anything, you just need to show up fully in love for yourself, fully as yourself. And if it doesn't go the way that you wanted, it just truly was not meant to be.
Exactly. And I want to just dig a little bit deeper on that, because with that aspect of time spent, let's say time spent investing in a relationship, if you showed up with pure love in the relationship and it didn't end up working out for you, don't think that was wasted or that anything was wrong, because that love that you've given to the universe, it's left you, and it was just pure, abundant love, and you know that the universe delivers in tenfold.
Right.
Like, let's say you work so much on this business, and then some people have this concept of failure. It's never a failure. So it's always a learning opportunity, but you've still invested that energy, that momentum, and it's going to come back. It's law that it's going to come back to you in tenfold.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I just think, like, when we're coming from intention of just being and loving ourselves, how could you possibly regret anything?
And how could anyone resist that?
Yeah.
Like, when you're showing up in true love, you're only going to attract that. Like, that's when you are this concept of being the magnet, because you fully step into being who you are.
And abundance. You're being abundance, and you're going to get it reflected back to you. Yeah. So we just want to really encourage you guys to embrace yourself, exactly who you are. And like, I think it takes quite a while to even figure out who that is for a lot of us. Like, for me, for a long time, I don't even think I had a very good concept of self, at least not like in more personal avenues in my life or dating or whatever, because I was just so used to being in my head all the time and thinking about who I should be, how I should look, how I should show up, what I should say, that I didn't even know, like, what do I actually want to say in this scenario, or who should I actually, or who am I in this scenario, rather than who do I think I should be. So there's actually been quite a lot of unpacking for me in realizing, like, I've just been putting on this front for such a long time that I think that's who I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does, because it's like, it's this self-perception.
Right.
Like, how are you viewing yourself? And like, what have you like stacked up there? What have what Band-Aids have you placed over certain things? And then it's just a matter of really sifting into that and stripping away or letting go or detaching from anything that actually isn't you anymore.
Yeah. So whatever it is you guys want in your life, it's, the perfect relationship, or there's no such thing as perfect, but the loving
Everything
relationship.
Is perfect.
Oh, well, that was another we were going to talk about actually earlier today. Zoe said, well, you tell.
Yeah, well, it's this relationship coach that's a friend of ours who we're probably going to have on the podcast one of these days. And he just said, you know what? You're perfect. Like, what if you just decided to adopt this belief that you are perfect?
Yeah.
And once you can accept that within yourself, like let go of anything that's not serving you, that isn't aligned with your pure abundance, that is perfection. Like we were all born on this planet, pure love, abundance, which is perfect. And what happens is through our conditioning, we kind of get developed into the being that we are, let's say, and it's up to us to release the resistance that we have from anything that isn't love.
Yes.
And us acting in a way that is anything other than love.
Yeah. Yeah. So whether it's, the loving relationship, the thriving career, business, whatever, the more you guys embrace who you are and lead with that, which is about love, self-love, putting love out there, just coming from love, that's really your access to all of it. And so, in the last episode, we talked about, or the last episode on this topic, we talked about embracing your gifts and how that's really your key to success. But your gifts are just about trusting yourself, about coming back to that place of love. And you can find success in any area of your life by embracing who you are instead of who you think you need to be. Let go of that completely. Stop following anyone that you're comparing yourself to, and give up the idea that there's certain things you should or shouldn't say in order to be loved or be successful, because it's just going to hold you away from it for that much longer.
Exactly. Fulfillment is yours once you decide that you accept who you are.
And actually, what's so interesting is for me, like looking at the last couple of years of growing my business is the success of it has been a perfect reflection of how much love I'm coming from, how much of me I'm putting out there into the world, authentic me. In the beginning, I was putting out only what I thought people needed to see in my programs, in my content, in my photos. And I wasn't attracting any results in my business. And so now the more I'm just me, the more money I make, the more success I have, the more people reach out to me. Like it's actually really, I just kind of realized that now of just like, it's been,
because you're the magnet then.
Right. The more of myself I'm putting out there, the more I'm just trusting myself, the more my success grows. And so that's been, I don't know, very
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Because you with that success and the more success that comes to you, you just learn to trust even more in yourself.
Yeah, totally. And I think too, like the more you put yourself out there, the more people respond favorably to it. It's like I had this sort of revelation at one point in my business where I thought all of these things that I'm not sharing with people out of a fear of being rejected are actually the things that are going to have me be loved and accepted, right? So I wasn't putting certain pieces of me out there because I was afraid of how they were going to be received, and I was afraid of that like emotional rejection or whatever. And when I started actually just being more vulnerable, that's when I started getting more love. So it's funny because we hold it back because we're afraid that we will lose love, when in reality it's actually how we get more.
And just even that, like my most I don't know, I want to say like successful, even though maybe numbers wise they're not successful, but the most engagement that I receive on YouTube always comes from those videos where I'm vulnerable, when I decide to share, when I'm
I say that about my posts all the time. Like the more every time I post something that's like just a tip for people, like here's how I would suggest you market your services, a couple of comments maybe when I'm just saying, here's something I've really been struggling with and here's how I'm working through it and here's me being real. Like, 30 comments and everybody going crazy about it, people messaging me, telling me how much like I just don't have that much vulnerability content. I would run out of things to talk about pretty quickly. But I always thought that was so interesting. Like literally, the more real I am, the more myself I am, the more love there is. The more success there is, the more abundance there is. And it all comes back to what we were talking about. Reality is just your hologram. What are you projecting? That's what you're getting. So, and it really comes back to your self-perception.
Yeah.
So, I think that we'll wrap it up there. We want to know from you guys, though, reach out to us if this spoke to you. Let us know where you are embracing yourself or maybe not. Yeah. How are you holding yourself back? How are you coming from fear? Where are you coming from fear?
Yeah, and ask yourself today, what are your gifts? What are the gifts that you have, that the unique qualities within you? And, once you decide to sift into those a little bit more, like understand them a little bit more, get to know them a little bit more, then the ideas and the intuitive downloads come for like business ideas or content ideas or travel plans. Like everything manifests from you just truly stepping into yourself.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed.
And we'll see you again soon.
Thank you guys so much for spending a piece of your day with us and tuning into the Lo and Zo Show.
If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to rate it and share on social media. Be sure to tag us.
Until next time,
stay abundant.